Cool. It's Carl here from Brrraaains A Head-Banging Life with Elina, the art director for alternative indie rock band Plastic Barricades. First things first, right? When you sort of say art director, it kind of suggests that you're almost separate from the entity that is Plastic Barricades, but obviously that's not the case.
No, it's not at all. Not at all the case. So I've been with the band for, over 10 years, I would say. So I'm definitely a part of the band. I don't play an instrument. When I was a kid, I had a choice between art school and music school. I chose art school, so I do all the visuals for the band. But Dan and Paul do write all the music.
And is that effectively the overview of your role within Plastic Barricades? Art, so the images of the album, singles, videos, and so on.
Yeah, I do all of the visual work, all the banners, all the cover art and music videos as well. And I'm one of the luckiest ones to hear all the new songs first, because we have a music studio in our garden. So I'm blessed to hear all the beginnings of the songs until they blossom into a full release.
Okay. Do they then use that as an opportunity to bounce ideas off you? Hey, what do you think of this? And hey, what do you think of that?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. It depends on the song. Sometimes I do get some input. Sometimes I don't. I try not to intervene too much, but when I do have an opinion about a part of the song or a lyric maybe, I sometimes, tell them.
No, that's cool, it's cool. And this is the second time we've actually spoken to you. We had a written interview with you back in February where we talked about a specific song. Yeah, and the world was quite different in February than it is now. How have you been managing to keep sane?
To keep saying that's a good saying, yeah. Well, luckily our lifestyles didn't change too much, as both I and Dan, we work mainly at home. So I'll do visuals, I do creative directing and photography, and Dan writes the music and produces stuff. So we've been self-isolating for a bit, even before the quarantine, because of our choices. But I do miss theatre and museums a little bit now. I really want it to be over. As for sanity, of course, routines keep us busy, and creative projects, lots of them, and trying to use this time creatively and usefully.
So you haven't been struggling like for work and so on in regards to the fact that you're staying at home and it's effectively, I guess, mostly online anyway?
It is mostly online, and of course there have been some drawbacks and some clients that left and so on. But not too bad. We've been very lucky in this sense. Because we've been building this home work routine for a long time. So we've been actively working towards working at home, and now luckily we can do that.
One of the conversation points that's been coming up a lot when we're talking to bands and artists and so on is to try and obviously focus on the positive, because it's so easy to get dragged down into the negative side of being stuck in quarantine or isolation and so on. Can you think of the last couple of months then anything particular in your life that's positively coming out of this?
Well, one of them would be the music video that we're talking about, Tunnel. Although the song was written before the quarantine, the music video was born during the quarantine, and we used all the home props that we could find. One of them was a digital microscope. Definitely creatively this time has been good for me, at least.
Okay.
I'm painting a lot. I'm creating new stuff, and it's a scary time, and it's been very volatile and ambiguous, but when you find something that really makes you happy, it becomes easier.
Okay. So you've already mentioned Tunnel then. Can you give us a little more insight into that video? I know it's not out yet, so you probably can't describe it word for word for what it's going to be, but obviously you're quite excited about it.
Yeah, that's true. So the video is coming out on the 6th. And I really want to describe it. It's very hard to, because it was shot on a digital microscope, and it's very, very close-up images of the things we had just around us that we don't usually pay attention to. And I tried to shoot the things in a very different way. Yeah, very hard to explain. It is very ambiguous, and you start looking for patterns and details in something that's not there, or maybe it is there. Yeah, and the song is obviously it's called Tunnel, and it's about finding the light when you can't see it just yet. So we're all in this tunnel, and you know that it's going to end. And it may be dark in the tunnel, it may be anxious and scary, but you know there is an end. So you just keep on going until you reach the light.
So when it came then to designing, say, the cover for the single, which is obviously very simple but very eye-catching, did you take inspiration from what you've just described, or was it kind of something else?
Yeah, there was a long process of building prototypes and then trying different things, and we had at least 4 different versions of the cover until this one won. We asked our friends and family to vote, and this was the winner. And yeah, there's a circle on the cover, and it is a tunnel. And it's also very simplistic, as you say, because it's a circle. It's a very comfortable shape. But the edges are torn, so it's not as simple as a simple object would be. So yeah, there's a lot of meaning and prototyping. Yeah, that's the word.
When I looked at it earlier on, and bear in mind I didn't know the themes behind the song until you basically just described it. Now I can picture it. The image, when I looked at the image, conjured up as if there's your wall, and someone had slammed it with a sledgehammer. So you get those cracks around it where the wallpaper almost is tearing and stuff like that. And now I'm like, well, I can tie that into the idea where you're trying to get the light at the end of the tunnel. So awesome work, basically.
Thank you very much. If you look closer to the artwork as well, when you see this torn out circle, you see a seascape, a scenery behind it. So also another layer that some people would see there, that behind this wall of paper there is something else further down if you look closely, or if you tear through that first layer.
It's amazing because, let's be honest, in this kind of way the world is now, instant gratification, and we move on quickly. The onus on covers, albums, singles and so on is perhaps not as important in general public eyes as it was, say, when you were picking up a vinyl back in the 80s. But that seems to be now turning a little bit of a corner where it's becoming a priority again. Is that something you've noticed?
I really hope so. Yeah. I've always been a fan of album artworks, and of course, coming to a vinyl shop and shuffling through the artwork. It's a certain way of certain gratification for sure. We've always been very careful with our artwork, trying to experiment and do things. Although, we would know for sure that it's going to be a tiny, tiny pixel on the screen of the phone. But still, people who want to dig deeper, they can find it, they can look at it a bit longer, maybe see something in it, maybe print it out on the wall like I do. I love my artworks.
It seems like working with Plastic Barricades, as long as you have, has given you a strong creative outlet.
And lots of freedom, of course. Yeah, very lucky. It's both ways. It's the best client and the worst client, because the best because there is all the creative freedom, and the worst because there is all the creative freedom. Like, do whatever you want, and that's kind of hard sometimes, because there is a song, of course, you can bounce off it, but when it's too broad or too wide, then it's sometimes very hard to come to the idea.
No, that makes sense. But it's got to be always, imagine, more exciting than just being, hey, can you design me this logo and this is exactly what I want.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, it's a dream come true, for sure.
But obviously, with that freedom, it has allowed you to be so creative. And, you know, let's look at the video that we saw back in February, which is Optimus, for example. We did a sort of single video reaction to that, and we were mesmerized by that video. And it was so simple when you described it, but it was really, really well done.
Thank you so much.
When it comes to putting up stuff like that, then, I mean, where do you even start coming up with an idea like that?
Oh, I think it was Dan who came up with the first initial idea of putting stuff in water and twirling it. I think he has some kind of a prototype video on his phone when it was literally like a translucent mug, and he put something in it and just stirred it. So that was the first bit, and then it quickly grew into buying 300 little people, putting them all in water. And there was a very cool story with the fish tank that got delivered once, it was broken, got delivered second time, and it was too big, and then we couldn't get rid of it. And yeah, it's very, very funny situation with that fish tank. It's still sitting in our garden, yeah, waiting for another creative outlet, I guess.
That's it, it's just there to be used. So what kind of things then inspire you?
Ooh.
Broad question.
Broadly, I would say movies and TV shows. I love movies. I went to film school, so yeah, that's definitely something that inspires me a lot. I can recommend a TV show that I watched a couple of days ago. It's called Dispatches from Elsewhere. Brilliant show, very, very inspiring, especially for creatives. It's like a show by creative people for creative people. Great.
Okay.
Yeah, of course, art. I have a full shelf of photography books and art books and so on. So yeah, very, very basic things like media for media. Like you get art to create art, like art in, art out.
Okay. Is there a specific photographer or artist that you kind of were drawn to at a young age that kind of led you down the path where you are?
I would say that my heroes changed throughout the years, because when I just started photography, I was 15, and I liked Annie Leibovitz for her documentary style, then all the black and white classics, so journalistic photography, and then I started doing some more arty stuff. Then got my master's in photography, so that was very art based, very philosophy based. So I wouldn't say I have my favorite photographer. It's a range depending on the style or genre I need to tackle this particular time.
And I always wonder when I'm talking to someone with your skills and history and studies, whether you reach a point where you struggle to have your mind blown in quite the same way you did. You know the ins and outs of how certain things work. I will watch, as I say, a Plastic Barricade video and think, oh, that's amazing. But you obviously know how that was put together, and ultimately that side of things is going to be less spectacular setting up than compared to the end result. Do you still get your mind blown?
I do. I'm a very curious person, so I read a lot and I try to dig into Wikipedia, and ever so often I get something amazing out of the digital world or the physical world that blows my mind. It does, yeah. I think the key is to stay inquisitive and to stay inspired, being inspiring and inspired at the same time. I do. It's great. I think there are so many great creatives who make things that are just mind-blowing, and I really want to learn some more skills to try to get to that level.
You never stop learning in
Yeah.
any of these businesses. What about passion then? 10 years odd with Plastic Barricades. Do you believe you're still as passionate about, say, the music and working with them on videos as you were at the start?
Absolutely, yeah. Definitely even more because the music changes with the band. And yeah, there are tracks that I like more. Some tracks blow my mind. Some tracks are not that connected to my particular mood at the moment. But yeah, they're definitely, the lyrics inspire me all the time. I'm in awe with Dan, who writes songs that are deep, that are lyrically very diverse, and they paint a picture. Yeah.
Yeah, you said a couple of times as well. There's kind of constant theme of positivity within Plastic Barricades,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's sometimes it kind of comes out more mellow, melancholic
Yeah.
way. Is it important in your eyes to kind of have that positive focus within the music?
I think it's important to have a human focus, and humans are not always positive. And I would say that even the happiest moment or the happiest emotion is not always simply happy. There's a range, different colors of happy or different colors of sad, and usually there's sad with little encryptions of happy and so on. So that's how I would maybe describe Plastic Barricades music. Very multifaceted.
Absolutely. And I guess the hope and dream of any band is that regardless of what any person wants to focus on, that what they get out of it is for them. Be they take a lot of positivity from the lyrics or the melodies, make them feel particularly sad or whatever. If it's electing feeling, that's kind of the good thing.
Yeah, I think most of Plastic Barricades music, it gives you hope. They describe different emotions or different situations, but there is a line of kind of moving on and going, keeping on doing something until you reach a certain point.
Well, as you've been there since the start, effectively, how's it been for watching the growth? And where's the glass ceiling? Is there one?
I'm not sure. The growth, yeah, it's interesting nowadays. Dan and I are in London. Paul is in Paris, so that's a bit difficult and different because of the pandemic. We can't gig so much. And it's a bit difficult between the cities, but creatively it's okay. Luckily, to technology, we still can do stuff together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as for growth, Dan is the constant in the band. He's the band leader, and he writes most of this stuff. And yeah, some musicians come and go, some leave, seeds of some interesting stuff. Yeah, it's a process.
Because obviously you already mentioned as well, modern music, it's very, very difficult to make any headway, particularly in this world of heavy focus on social media, and you need to be active and all that. Who's in control of Plastic Barricades' social media?
Mostly Dan, I would say. Yeah, so I create stuff and he posts.
Is that a side that's enjoyable? Because I know not everybody enjoys that side of things.
No, I think it's quite difficult. Promoting your own thing is quite difficult, just psychologically even. You create something that's like, yay, I'm proud of it, please take it. But yeah, I would say Dan is sharing more content that surrounds him, He doesn't write too much, but he writes most of the stuff in his music. So whenever I ask what the song is about, he always says that I've already told you in the song.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's his philosophy, that whatever he has to say, he puts into music.
brilliant, brilliant. That's what the platform is for many, many artists. So it's good that he's using it. What insight, if any, can you give regarding work on the new album?
I think it's going to be out in this autumn. What else? Insights. Mastering is done in Metropolis Studios in London.
Okay, cool.
What else?
So it's effectively complete then?
But yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we have some bits to finish, but it sounds amazing already. I love it so much, and I'm the lucky one with the link with the secret thing. So that's great. Yeah, I can't wait. It's gonna sound really good.
Brilliant. And what about long-term plans? Now, I know this is really difficult to even nail down. It's the same for everybody. What can you possibly talk about when nowhere's open and every tour gets cancelled or postponed? But do Plastic Barricades kind of have anything hopefully in the works?
I think more music is in the works. Seeing how busy is Dan in the studio, it looks like there's going to be another album after that. Luckily, of course, gigs are questionable at the moment, but as soon as we get gigs, we'll go gigging for sure. I'm really keen on shooting some more music videos and creating more content, and Dan is working busy in the studio every day.
Before we go, we'll ask back to your music videos. So, doing these in a very, I guess, simplistic way that you have been doing it, and still with these quality end results, is that kind of how you want to focus on videos going forward? A more minimalist, and dare I say, correct me if I'm wrong, cheaper way of doing things?
Yeah, definitely. I think we are very proud of our DIY approach to music videos. Both music videos, The Optimist and Tunnel, were shot at home. Very comfortable, very convenient. And it's also pushing the boundaries because it allows you to think outside the box. Like, what can I do with my environment? What can I do with my tools that are lying in the drawer, or the photo equipment that I have? Both videos, I think, focus on magnifying the ordinary. In Optimist, we're magnifying the water and the simplicity of water, or how unconventionally you can shoot water, like adding glitter to it, or a little plastic people, or flooding a little village that were built with plastic toys. Like this toy, for example. I think it featured in the video. It's the actual Dan's kid's toy when he was little.
Wonderful. It's still in good one piece.
Yeah. These videos are also filled with little details that matter a lot to us, to me and Dan. Mm-hmm. With Tunnel, for example, it's a good question for you. If you can find a tea mug in the music video.
A tea mug, yeah?
Yeah. So there's a bit that was shot just with a tea mug.
Okay.
With something in it. But it looks absolutely magical. It doesn't look real at all. It looks like CGI, though no CGI was used in the music video.
Oh, awesome. Very exciting.
Yeah,
Look
definitely.
out for that.
Home-based approach is something we would develop further.
But you wouldn't complain if someone wanted to throw you 20 grand to shoot some high-budget CGI-laden film, right?
That'd be great, but isn't it easier? If you have a huge team of 20 people and 20 grand of equipment and resources, that's easier, I think.
Absolutely. So
They're
before we go,
enjoyable.
where can people, if they're interested in your work, Where can they find you?
My website is elinapas.com. Instagram as well. I'm not that busy there, but I try to post some interesting things that I'm working on. Google Plastic Barricades first of all. All the music videos are done for me. For me, with me, by me.
Yeah, you're directly linked.
Yeah,
it's easy to
and
find.
the website for more graphic stuff. Yeah.
Brilliant. Elina, thank you so much for your time. It's really appreciated.
It's such a pleasure.
Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/GBHBL, as well as Big Cartel, where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?